fourth grade. Want to work today still on metric measurements and conversions, but multi-step problems today, ones where you got to do a couple steps on your way to figuring it out. So please make this the title of your on your next free page in your math notebook. Write it carefully and neatly. And once you're all done, close it up, and when we get to we do, you'll come back and write it down as we do it carefully. Okay. So before we do some multi-step, just a quick review. So we talked about metric units of distance or length. We also talked about metric units of weight. We also talked about metric units of capacity. That's like how much liquid would fit in something. All big things you measure. And what was nice is the units were easy to figure out because they all followed this King Henry thing, right? King Henry died, base, drinking chocolate milk. And so that let us figure everything out. So like when we were talking about distance, the base unit was a meter. And you could just add the prefix you wanted. You know, so H means like hectometer. And this D means decimeter. And so on like that. With weight, the base unit was a gram, which is pretty small. And then like the K would mean like kilogram. And the C would mean centigram. And capacity, the base unit was liter. And what have I missed? The big D would be like a decaliter. And the M would be a milliliter. And that's it. And they were nice. They were easy to go between because if you wanted to go down, every time you go down one on the list, as the thing gets bigger, there's 10 of these and one of these. And there's, 10 of these and one of these. And so we were always just going 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, which was really nice. Made it really easy. So for like with any of these, if I started here, 5 kilometers is the same as 50 hectometers, is the same as 500 decameters, is the same as 5,000 meters, is the same as 50,000 decimeters, is the same as 500,000 centimeters, is the same as 5 million millimeters. And you can just do that with anything. So as you go down the chart, each time you're just multiplying by 10. So that's how that worked. So let's do a multi-step problem today. Here we go. Dr. Dobler filled a 2-liter bottle with water. He loves his class so much that he wants to give his students the amazing gift of 100 milliliters of water. I know it seems very generous of him, and he is. So he wants to give his students 100 milliliters of water just to be nice. How many groups can he give 100 milliliters of water to from his 2 liters? Haha. So if you want to think about this before I solve it, sometimes drawings are helpful. You've got these 2-liter bottles, and I'm going to divide it out into milliliter bottles, right? And I just want to see how many I can make. And since I did this for y'all, you can imagine what 100 milliliters looks like because you got that much. And so we're kind of asking, like, how many times can I do that? How many groups can I give 100 milliliters of water to from my 2-liter bottle? So here I've got 2 units. I've got 2 liters, and I've got 100 milliliters. And it's going to be pretty hard to solve this if I don't switch my units. So it would be nice if instead of 2 liters, I knew how many milliliters I had. Because if I figure that out, then I can figure out, well, how many groups of 100 can I make? So let's do that. So I think I'm going to start by switching King Henry died, base, drinking chocolate milk. I'm going to switch my 2 liters, so that's the base, down to milliliters and see how many I have so that I'm dealing with 1 unit instead of 2. So 2 liters is 20 deciliters, is 200 centiliters, is 2,000 milliliters. So now that's an easier problem, right? So it's like saying, instead of saying I have 2 liters to divide into 100 milliliters, it's like I'm saying I have 2,000 milliliters, and that's easier to divide into groups of 100 milliliters. So now that's really what I'm doing. And I think that's going to be a lot easier to do. So now I'm just figuring out, okay, I've got 2,000 milliliters. How many groups of 100 can I make? How many groups can I give a wonderful gift of 100 milliliters of water to? So let's see. So I think pretty easy math here. So 10 groups, it makes 1,000 milliliters, right? 10 times 100 is going to give me 1,000 milliliters. So that means I can do 20 groups with 2,000 milliliters. And that's it. So I can give 20 groups. Man, that's almost everybody getting their own. Imagine a world where you could have had your own 100 milliliters of water and not even had to share with your irresponsible group who was just going to let it evaporate. Anyway, wouldn't that be nice? So there you go. So I changed my liters to milliliters, and then it was much easier to divide out my groups from there. So two-step problem, right? I had to convert, and then I had to divide. Okay, let's do one together. Open your math notebook up. And let's do this. Madison has 16 meters of fabric. For her birthday, she wants to give the friends who come to her party each a craft that requires 20 centimeters of fabric. I spelled that wrong. Fabric. 15 people are coming. Does she have enough fabric? So let's see. So I always like to figure out what I'm doing first before I do any math. Sometimes with multi-step problems, it can be easy to just like draw kind of what's going on, right? So she's got this fabric that's like 16 meters long, and she's going to cut it. To make this craft, she needs to cut it into pieces that are 20 centimeters. And I don't know how many times she can do it. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, does she have enough to do it as she keeps cutting it up? So that's kind of what's going on, right? Big piece of fabric, we're cutting it into small pieces. And I want to know if she has enough for these 15 people. So the problem is, it's hard to say, like, well, if this is meters and this is centimeters, and it's kind of hard to do both. If I knew how many centimeters this was instead of meters, this would be a lot easier to do. And so I think I'm going to just do that first. Instead of knowing meters here and I'm cutting it into centimeters, let's just make it all centimeters. King Henry died, base, drinking chocolate milk. Meters is the base. So she's got 16 meters, and I want to go to centimeters, which is down here, 2 down. So times 10, that is 160 decimeters. Times 10 is 1,600 centimeters of fabric. So this same thing, instead of now thinking of this as 16 meters, I'm just going to think of it as 1,600 centimeters. And so the question is, if I cut it into 20 pieces, will I have enough for 15 people? Or pieces that are 20 centimeters, rather. Will I have enough pieces? So now that's what I'm really thinking is, okay. So I've got 1,600 centimeters, and I'm dividing it into pieces that are 20 centimeters. How many can I make? So that's really like taking my 1,600 and dividing it by 20. So let's see, what can I multiply by? 20 times 10. I can easily do. I'm going to have to do that a bunch of times, though. That's 200, and I don't really want to do that. So maybe I'll do 2 at a time. So 20 times 10 would be 200. So 20 times 20, not 200. 20 times 20 would be 400. That's 1,200. Do it again. Another 400. Do it again. And do it one more time. So I divided it into 80 groups of 20. So if she takes this piece of fabric and divides it into groups of 20 centimeters, she can make 80 crafts. So holy cow, she has way more than she needs. She needs only enough for 15 people. So she has plenty of fabric. She could invite 80 people to the party and still have enough. So she overbought. But, you know, it wasn't really obvious when you start. When you look at this, when you say, okay, I've got a 16 and a 20, you know, before you convert your units, it's not really obvious that it's really like she actually has a whole bunch of fabric once you convert it. Even here, you probably could have looked and said, whoa, that's a lot of fabric if she only needs 20 at a time. And so there you go. So that's how you do a multi-step problem. Usually you want to convert your units first, and that's the first step. And then after you've converted your units, you can do some math to answer the question from there. Hopefully that's clear to you. If you need to go back and watch I Do or We Do again so that you are super, extra, mega good at this by the time you get class tomorrow, please do. And I can't wait to see you then.